Hey gang, hey friends, hey gang friends. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this video finds you well. If you are new here, then hello. My name is Jo and I do nail stuff. She does stuff with nail stuff. And the stuff she does with nail stuff with nail stuff. I don't know how that happened. It's just stuck. I need a better theme song. Anyway. We're going to do a stamping video today. It's been requested by lots of people, so we'll get straight into it. These are your stamping plates. No, they're not. They're mine. These are stamping plates, which come in all different shapes and sizes and brands and whatever else you can think of. They all arrive with this blue tape film over them. You're going to want to take that off sharpish. That has been, some people have not taken it off before and that's why they were having trouble. So get that off now. And then we have different sorts of plates. We've got normal plates. This is a layered stamping plate, which we will get to. I'm going to do basic stamping, layered stamping. What's the other one called? Advanced stamping. And we're going to do ombre stamping and pigment stamping. So I get most of my plates from either MISSJO London or Born Pretty. You can use code MISSJO20 at Born Pretty for 20% off. They're really good price over there as well. They do take a while to get to you, but just be a good scout and be prepared. So next we have the other tools you'll need. These are your scrapers. They're credit card size, flexible. I find the flexible credit card ones better than the hard stiff ones. They're just better. That was a marshmallow, I think it's called, stamper. It's really squishy and quite sticky. This one is your basic stamper, which was probably everybody's first ever stamper, which is cheap but works. And now most stampers you'll find nowadays are clear because of the layered stamping and the fact that you want to see where you're stamping. This is the one I'm going to use today. It's my go-to. It's from Born Pretty store. I have slightly buffed the surface just to help it pick up better, so it's not as clear. I should have used a clearer one. I'm an idiot, but I'm not filming this again. Okay, thanks. So that's another similar one from Born Pretty. I don't know why I have so many stampers. I can only use one at a time. This is a hard one. This is from Conad, which is the first sort of well-known stamping brand. And obviously you can't see where you're putting the stamp, but if you're doing a full coverage pattern, that's fine. You do need to press down a bit harder when picking up and applying with the hard ones. I don't know what that is. Well, I know what it is. I don't know where I got that from. Don't remember buying that. So that's the tools you'll need. And then obviously you will need some stamping polishes. You can use regular polish for stamping. You can use gel as well, but that's kind of for another day. So regular polish you can use, but stamping polishes, this is MISSJO London. They do loads. I've got quite a lot of theirs. And they're just a lot more pigmented than regular polishes, and they dry super quick, which is what you want because you want to then be able to just top coat with your gel. So there's two MISSJO brands. You see the other one. This one is Conad. And this one is CJS, which is the Clear Jelly Stamper Company. And Born Pretty do stamping polishes and stamping gel. But I won't be doing gel in today's video just because I haven't used it enough to be able to, give any sort of worthwhile advice on it. But I will get round to that. But yes, there was two MISSJOs. One's MISSJO London and one's MISSJO. I don't know how there's two with the same name but different brands, but there is. I also always have with me a lint roller just to clean off my stamper, because you don't want to put acetone on the stamper, which I have done before, and it does kind of matte it and it does kind of break down the, silicone or whatever it is. So I use a lint roller to clean off my stamper and pick off any bits before I apply it to the nail if there's bits that I don't want on there. So I'm doing two coats of butterscotch from Gel Perfection, which you can get at diamondglitters.co.uk, and you can use code TNDG for a discount there. This is a Born Pretty plate, a marble plate. I'm going to stamp the same image twice on one nail, so I make sure you always have everything ready, because you want it to be sort of as quick a process as possible. You don't want to dilly-dally with stamping. So polish on, use the scraper. You can do one scrape, you can do a few scrapes, just you'll get an idea as to how many you need to do depending on how much polish you applied. I've rolled my stamper on, and then I'm going to go straight above the nail and just press down. You can roll it on, but if you put more pressure in one area than another, then the image is going to be sort of skewed or stretched out where you apply more pressure. This is going to be a non-stop talking video. I'm really sorry. I do slow down the process and do a little slow-mo for you at some point. I think it might be in this one. I'm clearing my plate with acetone just to get the polish off. I'm going over with black, and then I'm doing this slower. You see how the card's bending a bit, and where it looked like there was too much polish on the non-etched bits, I scraped again. I'm going in at an angle, rolling over, and then coming off at an angle as well. And you can, I'm going straight over with this. I'm not cleaning any bits of the image next to it that it picked up, because it's not going to reach the nail anyway. I'm offsetting this just a bit against the white, and I'm out of breath. Oh no, I need to talk slower. Okay, so I've offset that, and now I'm going to top it with Make It Velvet, one of the Gel Perfection matte top coats. And when I top coat a stamped nail, if I had like more than one stamped nail on someone's hand, I would top coat and then get it straight in the lamp, and then do the next one, do it one by one, because gel polish doesn't really want to sit on top of stamping polish. It kind of wants to disperse. So I, top coat lamp, and I quite strict with my clients about that. Like, get it in the fucking lamp now! But don't mess about, don't bash your hand, quickly but carefully. So that's just a tip, so it doesn't separate from the stamping polish. So I'm now done 2 coats of Dolly Daydream, and I'm taking the Shiro, I think that was called, and this plate. Some of the nails you'll see the polish looks wiped before I'm doing the stamp. It's because I painted them in the evening and then thought I can't be bothered to do this video right now. So I wiped them and then went back to it the next day. But I would normally stamp straight onto the tacky layer unless you're pigment stamping, but we'll get to that. So I'm doing the same with this. I'm going to do 2 of each technique. So this is just basic image and transfer. Nothing else, nothing fancy going on. Pressing it down, as I say, I go above, and with a client I'll try to go above on their nail as well, and just directly down. If you roll, as I say, you can stretch out part of the image. I don't know what that image is meant to be. The bit in the middle kind of looks like, I don't know, looks like some kind of women's reproductive system from a school textbook. Anyway, I'm topping that with Diamond Gloss, of course, which is the shiny top coat from Gel Perfection. And that metallic polish you can see has got a bit of a shimmer to it, which is nice. So that is basic stamping. I was hoping I would face some issues stamping so I could address them, but I didn't really with picking up. I think picking up, the main thing is finding a stamper that works for you. Try a few different ones. The Born Pretty one works really well for me. It's my go-to. And just a gentle pressure, quick. No faffing about. Get the polish on. So we're going to do a layered image now. This is a clear jelly stamper plate. It's called Romantic Rebel, I think. I put it on the screen at some point. Roll over quickly. Pick it up. And then decide where you want to go. And press. And you see I'm pressing down quite a lot. Just to really make sure that's stuck. And then I tend to lift off quite slowly, because then you can see if any bits aren't coming off and before you fully release, and then you can press down a bit more. Just realized that my microphone is pointing into my bedsheet. I hope that you've been hearing me. Okay, so now we are going onto the same plate but the image next to it. So you can see on this plate you have blank images, blank etchings, and then outlines that go on top of it. This is a slow-mo of me picking this up at an angle, rolling over, and then lifting up at the opposite angle, the other end. So I'm going to take that, and this is why I wish I'd used a clearer stamper. What a wally. And just trying to line that up as best I can. I'm a bit out of sync at the bottom there, but I'm not too fussed about that. And then those bits on the side, I just sort of tuck them in on these display tips, but on a person I would just use a cuticle stick just to pick off or press in, if they need to, any bits that are overhanging. And now I'm taking Make It Velvet again. This would have looked better shiny. I don't know why I went with matte, but I did, so what are you going to do? But I love this image. It's one of my favourite images ever. Somebody asked me once when they saw it if I painted it. I would love to have said yes. Yes, I painted it with a single eyelash, with a nostril hairbrush. But you couldn't hand paint that detail. So stamping is brilliant if you're not a fan of hand painting, or if you do want really detailed images. So I'm going to do another layered one now from the same plate. You can see, as I said, you've got, like, see that leaf next to my thumb? You have the leaf in full, and then you have the outline, so you can do it in different colours, and it doesn't necessarily have come as just 2 layers. This one is going to have 3 layers. One tip for this is, because I'm not fantastic, I've done this one before, and I didn't do a great job of it. I don't know why I chose to do that one again. I'm using my finger just to press off any excess there, but you can use tape or whatever you want just to get that off. So I'm pressing that down. What was I saying? Yeah, I don't know. So this one's going to have 3 layers, and you want to do them in the order. So the outline is going to be the top, the last layer, obviously. So I'm starting with the skulls, and then I'm taking a green, and I'm going to, whilst I'm pressing this onto the nail, I'm going to keep checking the final image that's the outline to see where to line this up to. And this is where I kind of cock up, but it's just, you know, this is kind of a gist video, so you know how, but not necessarily to say I'm fantastic at it. So I've done the leaves, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the roses on with red, which I think is called Femme Fatale, which is a Moyu London polish, stamping polish. And I'm going to try and figure out where these go. That was what I was going to say. So before I did it, I tried different ways. I tried doing the outline first, and then using that as a guide as to where to put the white skulls and the leaves and the flowers. But then when you do the final outline, which you'd need to do again, you kind of ended up having 2 outlines unless you get it absolutely perfect. Another way to do it would be, after each layer, so after the white skulls, put a base coat down and cure that. Then do the next one, so if you do mess it up, you can wipe it without having to start from the beginning again. It would seem a bit faffy, and it would mean you'd end up with like a whole bunch of extra layers on your nail, but you know, it's an option, I suppose. So this is where I attempt and kind of fail at lining this up. It works at some points, but obviously I could have gone a bit more clockwise with my leaves, or, oh no, I'm giving a thumbs down. That's a fail, but you see what I mean and how it works. And I think it is still, even though it's not completely lined up perfectly, it does still look really cool. It's got kind of like a decoupage? Yes, not to be confused with décolletage. It does still look kind of cool, I think, even though some of the outline is not in the right place, or some of my colours aren't in the right place. So that is layered stamping. I'm going to try and make a kind of scene now. I don't do the best job. I'm taking this plate, which is the Hipster Collection number, I can't see from here, I'll put it on the screen. You can see where I've scraped that cloud. There was a shadow where some polish I'd scraped off too much. So just quickly add some more, give it a quick scrape, pick it up, use my finger. As I say, you can use a bit of sticky tape or something to get those bits off. And then I'm popping that on there. And I've done an ombre here just of Lotus and Powder Blue Gel Perfection colours, just for something a bit more interesting to look at. I'm going to do the other cloud. Could have done both the clouds together, I suppose. But I wanted them in different places. So you can just keep stamping on top of stamps on top of stamps. You know, the stamp itself is not going to make the nail thick or anything. So you can make little scenes. which is what we're going to try and do here. I don't like it that much, but again, it's just for, you know, just to get the gist. So I've got some on the nail. I'm going to use my filthy lint wipe, and my desk, you will see, gets progressively more dirty and disgusting, but I'm not changing my kitchen roll in between each one. It's just wasteful. So I'm now doing the outline of the clouds. So the big one first. I don't do a good job of this. Again, should have used one of my clearer stampers, but I wanted to use one that I knew wasn't going to stress me out, because I tend to always manage to pick up with this one. So I've gone a bit out of whack there, but not to worry. So now doing the little one, and then I'm just going to try and, like I say, create a little scene, because that's, you know, if you don't like hand painting and freehand nail art, then stamping will be your best friend, and you can create some amazing, I've seen some incredible sets with stamping, just where people have these great ideas about which images to put with what, but this is my attempt at that. So I'm going to take some stars now, which is from a different plate. Again, I'll put that on screen because I can't remember, and I'm going to use the image that I've picked up, but I'm not going to use it all in one go. I'm going to pop a bit over there, and then I'm going to do a bit over there, just moving it around and just pressing on where I want to press on. So you don't have to go directly over the whole nail. You can just squeeze it a bit on at the side or a bit on at the top bottom. This is another MOU London plate. I'm going to take some palm trees and I'm going to layer these. So I'm going to start with white and a scrape. So you can see where I scraped there. You see how it looks like there's too much polish around the etched bit that I've scraped off from. So I've just given another scrape because it doesn't tend to pick up any smears on your stamper, but if it's really a lot, then it will. I'm doing a really shit job of describing this, and I was hoping this video would be better for people. I hope it helps. Anyway, so I'm then doing the same image in black. You can go straight ahead and do this. The stamping polish dries so quickly. So I'm going to line this up just a bit offset like we did with the marble, just to give the palm trees a bit of a kind of, I don't know, bit of depth, bit of dimension. And I wasn't very happy with that, but I didn't think there was any saving it now. So I'm going to top coat. So I'm topping that with diamond gloss. And it's kind of cute, I suppose. But it's just to show you that, you know, you like with those stars, you know, squeeze a bit on at the top, squeeze a bit on from the side, layer things. You can create some stuff better than what I've done. I'm now going to do some advanced stamping, it's called. I'm taking this rocket because I've wanted to do this rocket this way forever, for so long, and I just haven't done it, and I don't know why. I'm trying to wipe my thing off and I've still got the wrapper on my lint roller. Twat. So I'm going to start with, I'm taking white, black, femme fatale. The yellow one is called Bahama something. I edited that way too quickly, and a blue one. And then I'm going to pick up the image, get rid of that little speck. Sometimes it's, you have to, if you're going to use your finger to get rid of it like that, you have to be quite quick. But you can wipe it off with something else. And then taking these stamping polishes and a dotting tool, I would actually recommend using a brush for this, but I didn't want to use a brush on stamping polish because I didn't want to have to use acetone to clean my brushes. I'll probably get one to assign to stamping polishes. So I'm using a dotting tool. If you do that, then I would recommend being really careful, because as you press down, you can crack the image. So, you know, if you've got a brush to do it with a brush. But I'm just dotting on some of these stamping polishes, and you can see from the underside that that's what it's going to look like when you transfer it, because this is the back of the image. So you want to work backwards with your colours as well. So instead of doing the white, the body of the spaceship's going to be white. So I'm going to do that last, because I'm going to put these colours in here. And then if you're going right next to it, let them sort of dry, not for long, a minute or so, just before going in with the next one. And then you can, so I can go over that red there with the yellow because what you're going to see is on the other side. So it doesn't matter if you go over it. You have to kind of work backwards in your head. So the first thing you put on will be above, even though you're going to put something over it, the first thing you put on will be more forward on the image than the last thing. So I'm going to put white all over here, and it's going to go over the blue, but that's no problem because you turn it over and boom. It's so cute. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. So I'm going to let that dry for a little bit, and then I've done 2 coats of Cocktail Party. Is it Cocktail Party? Yes. On this nail, and then I'm going to press that on, give it a bit more of a push because we've let it dry, and then do it slowly. You can see whether it's transferred or not, which it has, and then you have this little rocket. It's not perfect, like I say. I don't stamp that often, to be honest, but it's just so cute. And now I thought I'd add a spaceship, because spaceship, and create a little scene on this. Oh, this is a super slow-mo. Rolling with my homies. There we go. So I've done the spaceship in white because his the little space rays, beams, ray beams, you know, wouldn't show very well on the dark blue. So I'm taking silver and gold, and I'm going to fill this in with some metallic stamping polishes. Again, I'm using a dotting tool. I would probably recommend using a brush, but I'm not pushing down with the dotting tool, so I don't crack that outline at all. And then letting that dry just a bit. Not it doesn't have to be like regular polish. Don't have to wait 8 hours for it to be fully dry. It dries really quickly. So I'm going over that. I didn't think I would get the bottom part of the spaceship in silver without going over those white lines. You do have a border. The outline is your border, so you can go a little bit over them or onto the white lines, because the white lines are underneath it, so they're going to be seen the other when you turn it over. Am I describing that well? I mean, yeah, the visual's better. I do cock this up a bit, so I'm placing it somewhere there, and you'll see when I lift off, and this does happen sometimes if you leave, if you do leave things to dry, one of the beams, can you see there, it's dried. So I tried to move it and just press it back in, so you could just press it on, but I lifted it off and thought, I'm not dealing with that right now. You could go over the image again with white and just clean up everything apart from that little line and fix that in place, but I couldn't be bothered. So I now want to add some stars to this image as well. So I'm taking that, getting rid of that bit there, and then I'm just going to go from the bottom and squeeze some on there. Make your mind up. There we go. And then do the same as I did with the other. I'm so out of shot. I'm really sorry. I was struggling to stay in shot for this whole video. How is everybody? I hope you're all doing okay. I hope you're all ready for Christmas. Are you allowed to see your families this Christmas? We've just had a whole new tier system reboot or rejig in England. So some people are now in tier 4, which is basically lockdown, full lockdown. So they're not going to see their families over Christmas. There's people shouting in my house right now, which is fucking fantastic considering, and I did just say I'm going up to do a voiceover, but nobody cares. So that's that one. Nearly went off on one then. Always make sure you clean your scraper, and your stamper and your plate, for 2 reasons. 1, you'll get a build up of polish and you won't get a neat scrape. And 2, it just looks shitty if you sit down with a client and pull out this filthy bunch of tools. This is Turtle Beach. We are now going to do another, what is called the advanced stamping, which is where you fill in the image on the back. I'm taking this plate, which I think is from Born Pretty. It's got hearts and snowflakes. Don't know what the link is between those, but there you go. And I didn't want to faff about too much, so I'm just going to put a whole bunch of the hearts on there, and then we're going to fill them in. So scrape, a couple of scrapes, and then roll and pick up. A light roll. You see how this stamper, just I get a perfect pickup every time. Oh, there are some times, you know, I've done a set of 10 nails that had stamping on all of the nails. She had lace stamp over all of them. We got to nail 8, or was it nail 9? I think it was nail 9. Just stopped working, just wouldn't pick up, and I was getting quite stressy. My client was just giggling, just like, oh, it's really funny. And after a while I was like, it's not fucking funny, Wendy. It's not picking up. I don't know how to rectify this. So I don't think I swore at her. I might have done. So I'm pretty sure I threw something across the room, and then had looked like an idiot because I had to get up and go and get it because I still needed it. And then tried again, and eventually it did work. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. I have a love-hate relationship with stamping. When it works, it's amazing. When you do the same thing that you do when it does work and it doesn't work, it makes me want to jump out a window or set something on fire. It makes me so mad. And I get angry as well because even though my desk is huge, I have this big L-shaped desk that I designed myself and had a worktop made and everything. And I've got loads of room. But when you're doing stamping, everything has to be sort of in a certain small area, and I just get a bit like, oh, I can't move, and if I move too quickly I'm going to knock that on the floor and that's going to fall over, and then oh no I haven't done it quick enough. So I get that stamping can be really stressful. So I have filled in all of those hearts, not perfectly but good enough, and then push that down. You see how that middle heart on the right wasn't stuck fully, so I'm just pushing that down a bit more, and then boom. And that's a bit that I'd normally chop off with a cuticle stick, but I'm pressing it under because it's a pop, and the pop's not paying me, so it's not going to get a proper job. I'm going to top that with diamond gloss. And that's that. When you top with diamond gloss, it kind of smooths everything out. You don't see these kind of not that there was a brush stroke, but you don't see any like pattern from where you've dotted the polish on. It smooths it all out. So we are now doing an ombre stamp. So I'm going to take 2 colours. You can do as many colours as you like with this, but I'm doing 2 just for the sake of ease. So I'm taking the red and the yellow, and I'm going to scrape, but I'm going to scrape once, and then I'm going to move to the right a bit, and then move to the left a bit, and then maybe to the right a bit again. And I'm going to do that slowly now, slow-mo replay. So I'm going down the middle, moving to the right a bit, and then moving over to the left a bit, just to blend those colours together. Get stuck on the lip of the stamper, never mind. And then roll and pick up. And I figured that this wouldn't fit vertically. It wasn't long enough. So I went horizontally, and then I will clean up. Like I say, you can clean up before you stamp, or you can clean up after you stamp. It's probably easier to clean up before you stamp, so clean it on the stamper. But, you know, it's neither here nor there. So what you could do now is you could paint like a border around that. You can paint, obviously, on top of stamping. Personally, I would put a base coat down and cure that and then paint, because of the whole gel not wanting to sort of sit well on stamping polish. So I would do a base coat and then paint. But if I was just doing a border around something like that, I'd just go straight on with my gel polish to paint the line. So there's a little ombre one. As I say, you can do my nasal, sorry, I'm having an allergy moment. You can do that with as many colours as you like. 3 colours probably is as many as you want to do without stressing yourself out. I'm now taking the Born Pretty plate, and I make a mistake. I shouldn't have used this image that I do pick up, but I have. So I painted a nail with black and I've wiped it. You definitely want to wipe the tacky layer, and you can give a buff as well if you know, so that the final top coat has something better to stick to. I'm now taking some what is this, silver hollow chrome pigment, and I'm going to cover my stamper in that. Got a bit too much on it there, never mind. And then we're going to pop the stamper aside for a sec. You can do this with neon pigments, you can do it with colour pigments, you could ombre some pigments together, some neon pigments maybe on your stamper. And this is kind of, it means you're going to stamp with what you've put on your stamper is what's going to be seen. So I'm going to take black stamping polish and put a shit ton of it on there by the looks of it, and then scrape off. And then I'm going to use the stamper we've put the pigment on, roll it and pick it up. And you see that bit there? That's why I shouldn't have picked this image, because it's a solid bit. So that's just going to be a block of hollow, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with lots of hollow, but it's probably not the best image for showing you what I mean with this. So where you've stamped with that, that's why you want to buff the nail so that you can now brush off. I'm going to use a duster, and then I think I switched to a firmer one, and I'm going to dust off any excess, so it's only going to stick to the stamping polish because the nail, we've wiped it, it's not tacky anymore. So now you have, and you see I should have done a more maybe a lacy pattern or something, you would have seen better. So now you've picked up the image with a hollow pigmented stamper, and now you have a hollow pigment stamp. It's so beautiful. And then I'm going to top that with shiny diamond gloss. And that's that. As I say, you can do that with neon pigments. You could ombre some pigments together on your stamper first. You can do it with colour pigments. You could do it with, I don't know what else, pigments, basically. And then you get left with a pigment stamp. Oh, I don't think I've faced enough problems for this to be of any help to anybody, but I hope it is. Let me know, and I don't know, I'll try and do better next time. But I hope this is a help. Stamping, once you get the hang of it, is your best friend if you don't like doing nail art. Thank you so much for being here. I will be doing a video before Christmas, but I will wish you a happy Christmas anyway, in case you don't come back for it. But come on, come back. What are you waiting for? Me. Thank you so much for being here. You are so appreciated. You can follow me on Instagram at MISSJO Nail Co, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.